All right, welcome back, everyone. Another episode of the podcast with Jake and Javier. Happy to have you guys back and ready to just get right back into it. You know, we saw you guys about a year ago, and things have definitely picked up since then. So I know Jake's been doing a lot of rentals out in the Hamptons, so I wanted to kind of jump into that and see how you feel about that and where you see the future of the rentals going now that it's the springtime heading into the summer.
Yeah, right now it's just a matter of, for my landlords and my tenants, trying to get things shored up for summer. It was a weird one with all the snow we had because that kind of limited a lot of the people who would come out from the city to view properties for rent. But now that we're into May and the weather's warm and everything's in bloom, now's the time for landlords and tenants to really shore things up. But you figure in a month or so, once everyone has plans, then everything kind of slows down. So now is really the time to get things shored up if you're trying to rent or rent out your property. So
Sure. So are people usually doing like a rental for the whole summer, or what are they normally looking for out east?
Yeah, it's really a case-by-case basis, but I feel like when I started in 2020 as compared to now, majority of people that I'm seeing are 1 or 2 months, just because you figure in June, people who maybe have kids, they're still in school, they're kind of getting things wrapped up. In July and August, that's really the peak summer months with the weather and just, with everything that people like to do in the Hamptons. So I would say that July and August, those are really the two hotspot months that people like to spend in the Hamptons. So.
Sure. I know it's a big part of your business too, and I know you were able to get listings out of it and other buyers down the line, and I think it's a little untouched. You know, I feel like more agents should at least look into that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the rental is great because it really opens your door and your visibility to a lot of different clients, because I've had listings, I've had buyers who have stemmed from those inquiries from rentals. So, and it's really a great way for someone who, if they've never spent time in the Hamptons, or if they have previously, but they're not sure what area they like, renting is a easy way to get a taste of what you like in the Hamptons.
Yeah, figure out what they like.
Yeah, try a different town, a different time period, and then you can say to yourself, after maybe a couple of years of renting, okay, I could see myself in X town and I want to make purchase a home there and invest there. So
Sure. What part of the Hamptons would you rent in if you had to choose?
It's so specific. I would say if you're someone who likes to shop, likes to spend time at the beach, I would say a town like East Hampton is great. Of course, in the summer, the traffic's going to be
very heavy.
Yeah, heavy traffic to get to East Hampton as compared to, say, Southampton or West Hampton Beach. Sure. Or say if you're big into boating, things like that, Sag Harbor is an amazing town as well. They have great restaurants, and you'll go into the marina there in Sag Harbor, and you'll see $500 million, a couple $100 million yachts in there. So if you're a boater, that's definitely the place that you want to be in.
How about all the people that want to party? Where should they go?
If you want to party, I would say probably Montauk, or that's probably where I would say, because there's Stephen Talkhouse in Amagansett. There's the Surf Lodge in Montauk. So those are the kind of spots that if you're looking for that kind of scene, I would say that further east is probably where you're going to want to go.
I've never been out in Montauk to party. Like, I've seen it. So I've been to Montauk a couple of times, but driving through, I've seen like a nice little like party town, all these bars and stuff.
Definitely changed a lot.
Definitely something to do.
A couple of years.
Yeah.
Something to do this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because, say, a town like East Hampton or Southampton, there's pockets specifically south of the highway called the estate section where there's homes that are $40, $50, $60 million. And those are people who have been in that area forever. They've owned it for decades. But say a town like East Hampton or Montauk, it's probably more appealing a little bit to the younger crowd because of those elements, like a little more going out, things to do, stuff like that. So, but
do you get a different like quality of like different types of clients based on like where you're looking? Obviously, I know like everywhere you're always going to have like older people, more like, business owners, and then you might have like some young people that are just
families,
looking to relocate families and stuff like that. It's like,
it's so interesting because I'll speak to 100 people and I'll get 100 different answers as to what they like. So it's really, my job is just to paint the picture of what life in that area is going to look like for the summer and help adjust it to the client, because it doesn't matter, young, old, family, couple, you're going to get 100 different answers as to why someone likes East Hampton, why someone likes Southampton. And it's just up to me to really create and give them the option that's going to work best for them.
So it's more of the area than the actual house, right?
Yeah, the area is huge, but the house as well. Some people, I feel like the majority of the time, most people want a pool for the summer unless they're really close to the beach. And people really want a house that's updated and clean. Those are really the three biggest things I would say, because someone who's spending that kind of money, they're expecting a product that is going to warrant
right?
their what they're paying. So
that's true. That's great.
Yeah.
And then you've been dabbling with some commercial business. How's that been going?
man, I had my first commercial deal closed this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It was pretty cool. Pretty interesting experience, honestly. I got this through a referral from social media. So I was on Instagram. I saw somebody post a story that they needed an agent in Florida. I need an agent in New York from Florida. So I reached out to the guy. I said, hey, man, what's going on? Like, I could help out. He's like, I need an agent in Queens. I'm like, I need a commercial agent. I'm like, I got you. I was like, I'll do it. Teamed up with John, my partner, and we tackled the deal together. But I did a lot of the work myself because I wanted to really learn everything. So I wanted to take a lot of responsibility. I just wanted John's help with, obviously doing it commercially. I've never done one before.
Absolutely.
But honestly, what I come to realize, it's really the same thing as a residential sale. A lot less emotion involved, and it's really all just numbers at this point. We had the property on the market for like a month or two. We started pretty high, and then we had to drop the price a little bit. And, we were talking like $2 million. So it wasn't anything that anybody would just scroll by and like see it and just snatch it up. So it did take a little while to move it, but through some price adjustments and, just kind of like expanding on our marketing, we were able to get some traction on the property, getting a couple offers. And funny enough, we actually had an offer because we lowered the price like 179. Then we had an offer come in at like 179 exactly. Had someone else come by the day of the inspection that the other buyer was conducting. Guy was just ripping us apart through the inspection, like the original buyer.
Right.
I had a showing like the same evening after, and somebody came by. They were like, we love the place. We want to put an offer. I kind of told them, look, you have to beat this number if you want it. They beat the number, and I was like, shit, that was it. It was like they did their inspection, locked it up in contract. The only thing is it did take a little while to close. There was more logistics. Probably like, man, we got in contract like, when did this close? It was like May or February?
A couple months ago.
It's like February, March or something, I think. I think we got in contract like before December, like December 25th or something. So it was a couple months. And then we had some violations with the city because it was in Queens. Honestly, man, it's the same thing. It's the same headache, but I think it's also a little easier in a way because, like I said, there's a lot less emotion involved. It's really just if the numbers make sense, these guys are ready to go. Like, it's not like, oh, I got to have, my dad come see it and stuff like that. Like, no, it's like, it's a business. This is going to generate income for them. Is it, something where they can plant their business? Does it, coincide with like their zonings for what their business, because that's what I learned. Really cool thing I learned about commercial deals is that a lot of these commercial properties have different zonings. So the one I sold was a M1 zoning. So that means that
what does that entail exactly?
It entails that the type of business you can run. So some are more strict. I didn't get that deep into it. I just wanted to study the M1, but the M1 is pretty much, you can allow any type of business there. You could do retail, light manufacturing, you could do like auto mechanic and stuff like that. So you could really do whatever you want. You could even turn it into like a parking lot and just charge people to park. So that was pretty cool to see like that, there's different types of zonings with some of these commercial deals, and some might just be specifically tailored for one business. And just something to know when I do another deal next time, like, hey, like, all right, what does this next one come with? Is it a M1 zoning, M2 zoning? And then there's also environmental reports you need to get done. So when you're getting a loan from the bank, they want to make sure that there's no hazardous chemicals and stuff like that. So there is environmental surveys where they come and they check the dirt of the location. They examine, the wires and everything, kind of like an inspection, but it's more just to pass the guidelines for the bank to approve a loan, to then the buyer conduct his business and they could say it's safe for you to operate your business. So it was pretty cool. I loved being on that side of the fence. It was interesting to learn a little bit of it, and I'd definitely love to tackle another one this year.
What was your biggest takeaway from doing that deal?
Biggest takeaway is that in reality, we're all selling the same thing at the end of the day. Like, why we get in this business is to bring someone into a property, whether it's a commercial, residential, condo. Like, you could even sell someone a boat, right? It's like the fact that I told myself I could do this. It's the same thing as anything else. That was really like the biggest thing for me. It was just being able to realize that it's just, it's the same thing at the end of the day. And like, I just had a lot of fun. And it's definitely a little more complicated, but it's still fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
When things are new and you're not comfortable, I think it helps you really grow as a person. Like, just taking on a challenge rather than saying, oh, I could just send it off to someone and not ever exploring that avenue. I'm glad I did. So
So as far as the procedure with the commercial, was there anything glaring that stood out that differed from doing a residential deal?
Yeah, let's just say no one's ever bought a commercial property before. Like, we want to just run through the steps quickly.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of it is really you're really owning the rights to the space. So what you like to see is not just comps because comping is also a little different too. Like, it's not so easy to comp a commercial lot. And this one was a bit complex too because it was 2 lots that we were selling. So we really went off like a comp from like a year ago. And we just decided, you know what, there was a property last year that was like right around the area. It was kind of like a lot similar style. It sold for like, I think it sold for like 1.5 or something. So, it's not like a house where you could like pull like all the houses within the vicinity. So that's something that stood out to me. It's like, okay, it's a little more intensive, like a little more like you really have to calculate the square feet and the actual space. And then also like the type of business that it's currently being ran as. And, obviously there's options when someone buys a commercial property like that where they can either operate their own business or they can take over the owner that's working there and he could just sell the land but still run his business there. So it's like all these intricate things that you don't think about. But so much different than buying a business because when you buy a business, you're already kind of buying like the profit and stuff. This is really like you're just buying the potential.
All the numbers and whatnot.
Yeah, you're just really buying like the potential of what you could do. Because at the end of the day, you could turn that into like a Nike store if you want.
No, of course.
And I think it's pretty interesting, and I definitely want to get more into it.
Yeah, why not? And you mentioned teaming up, right? I'm sure you guys have teamed up with other realtors before, and wanted to discuss why it's important to do that. I mean, I'm sure both of you have done it many times, right?
Yeah, especially if it's an agent that's in a different market, because it's like you said, to get into say residential versus commercial, it's good to have that cross training so you have that experience. But if you're in a totally different market, then those relationships that you can lean on agents that you know and who you trust, that's really important.
Yeah, I think, I've been doing a lot of that this year, and I could definitely see like where agents can learn a lot from teaming up with other agents. Because I think in the beginning of my career, and you could probably agree the same, like you just wanted to do all the work yourself and you felt like it was only you against the world. But you get to a point when you're in business where you realize like if you collaborate with someone else, there's so much more you could do because now you're able to delegate a lot of the tasks that you would have been doing yourself to someone else.
They can't be in 2 places at once.
Exactly. And you can't be 2 places at once. And I've learned that, my first 2 years in the business, it was tough. I was driving all over Long Island. I was coming from like Queens to like, Riverhead, and I was going down like to Brooklyn, and then I would even go upstate. So I knew what it was like to get burnt out, just zigzagging all over the island. And, now I've been working with a lot of agents. We're trying to like build a team up where we can, have open houses, get listings, have our agents do the open houses, collaborate on a listing with another agent, because that's a big thing I've been doing now. I've been working with Phoenix. Shout out my guy Phoenix. Guy's crushing it, man. He's setting appointments like every day, and I'm going with him, and we're locking up these listings together. So it helps because, there's times where I'm busy at a showing in Queens and we have an inspection at Hicksville. So, who's going to go do the inspection? I call Phoenix, hey, could you show up today? He's like, yeah, I got you. And it's like, we work together. And I think that's like huge when you're trying to expand and scale, because there's only so much we can do ourselves. So the minute you can like put some strategies in place and you could utilize different like ways to like, help generate more income and with putting less effort in, I think that's like, it's golden. And that's a lot of agents, obviously in the beginning, they're not going to know that, but through time, you will eventually realize it when you start valuing your time and stuff more.
Yeah. Was there a specific deal that you maybe worked on with someone else that really helped get you over the hump?
Nothing comes to mind, but I guess on the rental front, I kind of do want to highlight, I feel like this past year for me, I really made an emphasis on cultivating the relationships I have with my clients, whether they're past clients or people who I've been in contact with for some time. And I feel like since I've done that, since the new year, I've gotten referrals from clients who I've never even done a deal with, but these are people who I have relationships with, and they see the effort that I put in and the attention to detail that I have, that they've sent me friends, whether it's rental or purchase. And I think that's huge because referrals from agents are great too. But when you actually have people in the market who you have relationships with and they can vouch for you and send you to their friend or family, and they know that they're putting their loved one in good hands, that's really important.
Yeah, I agree. And there's no better referral than someone you worked with in the past, because obviously your work shows, and
of course,
and it speaks for itself. So that's obviously a great bonus, Yeah,
I think some of the best referrals are just people that you've met, people you've done your first deal with, other agents that somebody you just meet like at a event, in Miami, it could just be somebody that sends you business like once or twice a year. And it's crazy because a lot of agents like don't realize this. Like the most important thing, guys, is like really doing right by your clients, doing right by yourself, and just being an exceptional agent that knows his stuff, that works hard, that can prove to people that people can look at you and say like, I know Jake works hard. Like Jake's hustling every day. He's doing everything he can to make it in this business. And just from being that guy, like people are going to send you business. Like you're going to have someone that's going to like think of you, and they're going to like not acknowledge who you are as a person and how hard you work, and they're going to want to give you business. So I think for some of the agents that might be like, oh, like this industry's so hard. I'm not getting any deals and this and that. Like, I don't know what's going on. I think sometimes you got to look into yourself internally and see like, are you a good agent? Like, do you answer your phone? Like, are you responsive? Do you actually, when you get a lead from your lender, do you actually reach out and like, try to follow up? So I think a lot of it is just self-reflecting, and like, if you're not getting enough business, you got to like think about like, all right, what am I not doing right? Is it like, what is it? Am I not calling enough? Am I not trying hard enough? Am I not making more relationships? Do I not go to events because I don't want to, and that's affecting me meeting other people? Right. So it's all these things you got to like look into yourself. And I say business and being an entrepreneur is a lot more spiritual than people think. Definitely there's a lot more that goes into like self-analyzation and like actualization and stuff like that. And, a lot of people just think it's all about the money, but it's really your mindset. It's
of
really
course. People
where
pick up on that type of energy, and you mentioned you got deals from other agents in other states, right? So I guess they see how you're working on Instagram and it shows. They're obviously a good guy to call up. Let me call and we lock up this deal, and I think Instagram's been key, very, very big to just cultivating new business and relationships, right? I know you had that Staten Island listing, right, from Instagram.
Yeah. That was pretty cool to get somebody just reach out to me and trust me with the family member, and he's given me other deals ever since. So I'm working with his aunt now. She's looking at some properties in Oceanside, and she also has a house she might sell in Valley Stream. It's 1.5 million. So it's like just from doing right by him with his one aunt, now he's got me, set up with the other aunt, and before you know it, I got the whole family going, so it's it's just one of those things that like when you really do a good job and you show who you are, it's always just going to pay off in the end.
Yeah. And so with Javi's commercial deal, so were you lended on that?
We did not lend on that.
Can you guys lend on commercial?
Not here.
Okay.
But we have partners that we can work with get it done. So.
Oh, okay. Cool.
If the opportunity ever comes up, be more than happy to give it a shot, because you went through the process already and definitely already familiar with it. So
what's with the 50-year more? Is that still a thing?
I don't know. I think it was just a rumor, honestly.
Yeah, there's no more.
I mean, at this point, anything would help, but I don't think they're going to do it. It's just going to be too financially drowning, I think. It's definitely not as good as people make it out to be. You're better off just renting for your whole life than...
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if it helps people, it helps, but... I guess we'll see.
So on your side, do you feel like there's a strategy or anything right now that could help? Because it's still competitive. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
Nassau and Western Suffolk still. Yeah. So is there anything that buyers can do right now with their lender to get a leg up? Or
absolutely. So here at NMB, we offer a buy now program where pretty much the file gets underwritten up front by the underwriter. That underwriter has a stamp of approval on it, and it goes out as an extra thing with the pre-approval. So when a listing agent sees that, I'm sure he'd be pretty excited to see that versus the regular pre-approval, And they check your credit, assets, and income. So they do a full verification of employment. It just takes a little longer, might take an extra day or two, but it's a great tool that we use, and people see it, and they're definitely happy with it. Right. So all those little things you can do to give your client a leg up, I think is huge. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if it's just a couple extra days, I mean, say you see the property, and even if you see it on Friday and you need to have an offer in by Sunday or Monday, if it's that quick of a turnaround, then it would be silly not to.
Of course, and especially if your lender is doing the proper pre-approval, we're collecting everything up front anyway. Just have to sign a few extra documents, but it's really nothing crazy. So we're doing all the work pretty much up front. So now once we get it in contract, we're pretty much just waiting on title. That's usually the longest part. 2-3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks, depending if it's Nassau or Suffolk County. But wouldn't that be great to get a file in? The only condition is waiting on title.
Yeah, shoot. And also with, say, getting someone pre-approved, or you said it was what was the name of that?
Buy now.
Buy now. Do you feel like there's something that maybe buyers don't provide that maybe they could provide that would be helpful, or something that isn't as important that people think is important, just to help, whether it's get a higher purchase price or...
Sure. So I think a key thing that will help on my end, when people are filling out the application, a lot of people leave out their work number. That's something we have to go out and find, and it's not always accurate. If they put the proper work number and we order the verification of employment when it's in there correctly, it gets done very quickly. Instead of us taking time to go find it, it's usually the wrong number or whatever.
Right.
But besides that, just having all your documents in PDF form, everything ready. When we ask for it, there's a reason why we're asking, is we need it, and we'll help get the job done quicker. So as long as they just do what we ask for and get everything in a timely manner, we'll move as quickly as they move.
You can imagine it must be like crazy just opening up like an email. It's just like screenshots of a bank statement, like hand covering the routing number or something, you know.
Of course, and that's why I tell all my clients too, please no camera pictures, PDFs only, so we can get your file approved quickly. Every time I send a pre-approval email to someone, it's always the same format. I list all the documents we need, approval link or the application link, and said same thing, please, we need this in PDF form so your file gets approved quickly. So most of the time they listen.
Right, and the Buy Now program is great, because I know in the Hamptons, sometimes there was a deal that I was looking at with one of my investors, and the seller was just wanting a cash deal. But if you can come to them and say, listen, they're getting financing, but like you said, it's already been underwritten, and all we have to wait for is the title, because with the cash too, that's a quicker process as well. So I think that's something that definitely could be beneficial.
Yeah, listen, it definitely helps, and it's for the right client. If someone's been looking around for a long time and they're a little lax with it, maybe it's not great for them, but if someone's aggressively putting in offers, it's a great tool, and I'll do that for all my clients.
Yeah, awesome.
Have you found anything else maybe to give your buyers an extra bump in this market?
I find that really like just being a little more realistic now, with the prices and stuff, you know, like not trying to like overexcite them. And, you know, it's like a lot harder to negotiate a deal nowadays. You know, it's hard to go from a listing that's like $675 and like try to come in at $625, $650, especially in a price point like that where everybody's just looking to jump into that, you know, number. So I just really try to set more of like a realistic expectation, you know, like I'll still try to, you know, if someone's approved for $625, I'll still try to get them into something for $650. I'll try to negotiate, but it's just, you know, it's so hard right now with the way the market has been, and like, you know, it's so active. It's springtime, it's peak season. Like people want to obviously always get a deal, but it's just really unfortunate. You know, I think one of the best things that I could do is just formally write my offers, and that always just helps. Like whether I'm coming in a little lower than someone else, like compared, let's say I'm up against Jake on the same house, and Jake's got $650, but I'm putting here like no contingencies, like, you know, we're ready to move at your pace, and I'm like wording my offer a certain way. I feel like sometimes that does help.
Yeah.
And also just being very communicative with the agent as well, like calling them like, hey, I just sent you my offer. You know, if you want to call Anthony, you could call him and verify the loan. Like he's going to let you know everything's clean. And we've been on those types of conversations.
I love talking to the listing.
And it helps. It really helps. It helps them because they're like, okay, I feel like I'm not in this deal alone. Like people just send an offer in and like they just sit back and wait for like, you know, a Hail Mary or something. Like, and I've seen it as a listing agent too. Like people just send me offers and like they will never follow up with me. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to follow up with the agent that was calling me back and like calling me to ask me what happened with the offer. And I'm like, I'm more entitled just to want to work with her.
They're doing a disservice to their client.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it might be a little less than this other offer, I'm still going to present it all, but I like to also lay it down on the table for the seller and just tell her, hey, look, you know, we have this offer, it's $700. We have this other one that's $695, but the $695 people look like they're more serious. They're calling me. They're, you know, pre-approved already. Like the $700, like they haven't even sent an approval with their offer yet. So, I know, let you do what you want with that decision. Usually 9 out of 10 times, they're going to just go with the offer that they already know is ready to go, even if it's like $10,000 less, because at the end of the day, it's like you want to have that security, right?
Yeah, you want to know your loan's going to get closed or your deal's going to get done in a timely manner, and communication is the biggest thing. You'd be surprised how many realtors say, my loan officer doesn't pick up the phone. I tried to call the listing agent, they don't pick up, or all this stuff, and it's just crazy to me because that's our one job is to pick up the phone. Like something like that, now we're busy, you know, but when we're done with this, we'll get back to whoever reached out to us. Well, we can't physically answer the phone, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
A small thing like that.
I just got a guy say, I just remember Anthony one time. I always tell everybody this story. Guy was snowboarding and like, I don't know, Vermont or something.
Pennsylvania.
Like Pennsylvania. He was just snowboarding on a mountain. I call him up. I'm like, bro, I need an approval like tonight. He's like, give me 5. 20 minutes later, I had an approval on my email.
Wow.
So it's like
It makes the biggest difference, you know.
I'll never forget that story. I'll be like 80 years old telling people that. Like, back when I was a realtor back in the day, like I had a friend, Anthony.
No, it makes a difference, especially when you're asking me for an updated approval. I can do it from my phone. I don't mind to sacrifice some time to get it over. Because time is everything, especially when you're putting in a competitive offer. You want to make sure everything's in and we get it done as soon as possible. So if that little bit will help, I don't mind doing that. You know.
How many times do you like have to step out of a dinner with your girlfriend or something just to take I think your girlfriend probably at this point knows the deal, right?
Yeah, it happens. And I feel like while it's super important to be present and accessible to your clients, you also have to say to yourself, how can I serve my clients the best? And if you're kind of going 24/7, I feel like that could be a fast track to kind of burn out. So, and I think your clients also respect too when you kind of set some boundaries with them.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I agree with that. I mean, because I think that was a big issue I had at some point. I mean, you might even agree as well. Like you have that client that, you know, maybe that one time they call you at like 9:30 p.m. and you're like, okay, this might be important, so I'm just gonna pick it up, you know, and like you're genuinely not doing anything. Like I could pick this up and see what's going on, and then now it's just one of those things where like, all right, now every day he's calling me at like 10 o'clock, like 11 o'clock, like calling me up. Like I've had a client call me at like 1 a.m. Like they call me at 1 a.m. like, oh, I just want to let you know, like, you know, I'm gonna like be a little late tomorrow for our show. I'm like, dude, like, but it's part of that professionalism. Like, you know, at the end of the day, you just got to be respectful. I'm not gonna like
of course
yell at you or like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why are you calling me? You know, like. But you know, I agree. So I think there's ways as agents and lenders, you know, with our clients and a very relationship-based business where we can indirectly just kind of like set that standard without coming off as like rude or anything like that, you know? So that's very important, man.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of close things out, I think that's also a big part of it is when you're working with these clients who are a little bit pushy or kind of going over the line, you kind of need to, I think, push back a little bit, you know, be like, listen, just shoot me a text if it's after a certain time. But we'll try and get back to everyone within a reasonable time because obviously we're trying to help them and get the deal done. So
yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right, perfect. I appreciate you guys coming, man.
Yeah. Thanks,
that was
man.
awesome.
Appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely.